Prisons statewide remain locked down. One college's lip sync battle didn't set the right tune for many on campus, and OU continues to take steps in diversity and inclusion. This is OU Nightly. Hello, thanks for joining us for OU Nightly. I'm Kolby Terrell.
And I'm Libby Dean. Oklahoma's cries for prison reform may get a little louder after a series of prison fights this past weekend.
The incidents left 1 dead and 36 prisoners and staff injured.
And new tonight, the Oklahoma Department of Corrections says all 24 state prisons will remain on lockdown indefinitely.
Corrections officers say right now a system-wide lockdown is the only way to keep both staff and prisoners safe. While investigating the deadly fight, staff found contraband like cell phones, drugs, and numerous weapons at several of the prisons. The Department of Corrections believes the fights are racially motivated and between prison gangs, but they are not naming the gangs at this time.
Speaking of prison reform, Oklahoma Pardon and Parole Board's Adam Luck tweeted that the board will now begin providing reasons as to why a prisoner's parole was denied. Before now, inmates did not receive any feedback as to why they were denied parole or what they could do to improve future chances. Board members will select a reason from 5 areas, some of which include aggravating factors of the original crime, disruptive behavior, and among others. This new effort will help the board remain consistent while viewing parole requests.
Harsh words from some tonight about the approach OU's College of Law took on the university's annual Giving Day. Faculty took part in an event called Lip Sync for the Law. The video performance was criticized by one former OU employee. OU Nightly's Cheyenne Plummer gives us the details of what went down.
Hello everyone, I'm Joe Harris, president at the University of Oklahoma, and it's OU Giving Day.
Faculty from all over the OU campus participated in Lip Sync for the Law, an attempt to get alumni and others to donate to the school for OU Giving Day. Current interim dean Joe Harris even joined in. This was met with criticism by Suzette Gerlot, former OU College of International Studies dean, who called the current administration a 3-ring circus. Gerlot also called out the McIntyre law firm.
I wanna be a billionaire, so freaking bad, by all of the things I never had. I wanna be on the cover of,
which subsequently caused OU to delete the video. Abby Herron, a lawyer in the video, fired back, telling Gerlot she is the only one with a single-minded perspective when it comes to gender. Gerlot immediately answered and offered to discuss. Cheyenne Plummer, OU Nightly.
Despite the controversy, OU Giving Day raised $798,000.
Across campus, there's plenty of praise for Price Business College. OU Nightly's Nicole Nielsen joins us with the record-breaking news for Price. Nicole?
The Price College of Business program is ranked 50th in the nation in the 2020 U.S. News and World Report. The ranking is up 12 spots from last year and is the highest the program has ever received. The university as a whole came in right at 132. This comes after OU was left off the list in 2019 for giving false data about its alumni giving rates for over 2 decades. And though OU's ranking has fallen due to the scandal, Price is OU's largest college with nearly 5,000 students. The interim dean believes that its personal success will help the university.
Not only are we one of the top ranked in the country, we offer one of the lowest tuition costs in the nation. What happened to the university should not affect our rankings. Of course, Price College is a significant component of OU. So the better each component does, the better for OU in general.
Back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks, Nicole. A tropical storm is hitting Texas, and Nash Rhodes has an update on the flooding in Houston for us. Nash Rhodes.
Yeah, that's right, guys. So it was a tropical storm when it made landfall yesterday in Houston. And again, this started as a tropical depression yesterday around 10 to 11 p.m. and then quickly grew into a tropical storm that you see here, which made landfall down in southeastern Texas and caused significant flash flooding and some damaging wind gusts. So the good news is this is weakening. Here's a live look at radar right now. As you can see, the heaviest rain bands remaining just east of Houston, with that rotation remaining just north of the city. And what's really interesting, guys, is that area of low pressure that's going to be left from this storm is going to slowly make its way up into Norman and could affect our weather later this week. So coming up, I'll let you know just how many storms we could get from this low pressure system. Also, we've got a new tropical storm in the Atlantic. I'll let you know about Jerry coming right up.
Another presidential candidate is visiting Norman. OU Nightly's Taitum Wilson has the details on the rally coming up this weekend.
Democratic presidential candidate Bernie Sanders will be in Norman this weekend. His visit comes after other candidates, Beto O'Rourke and Cory Booker, also made stops at OU. The OU College Democrats hosted the previous rallies, and they're helping out at Sanders too.
Like, regardless of political stances or views or policies, I think it's really important to go to events like these because when a big, presidential candidate or a big name just in Congress comes to Oklahoma, I think it can be really cool to see that face-to-face interaction.
Sanders will be at Reeves Park at 3 o'clock on Sunday. The OU College Democrats tell me they're also working on inviting presidential candidate and Oklahoma native Elizabeth Warren to come to OU as well. And this Friday, people here in Oklahoma and across the world will take to the streets to demand action on climate change. The global climate strike is part of the Fridays for Future movement led by Greta Thunberg, a 16-year-old Swedish climate change activist. Strikes are planned in more than 100 countries, with more than 800 scheduled in the U.S. The Oklahoma climate strike will include a march downtown. It starts outside the Oklahoma City Municipal Building at 2 o'clock. And an Oklahoma County District Judge faces 4 counts of failing to file state income tax returns from 2015 to 2018. The misdemeanor charges against Kendra Coleman of Oklahoma City were filed yesterday. Oklahoma County District Attorney David Prater also accuses Coleman of failing to disclose her campaign donations. Coleman remains a judge, but she is no longer presiding over criminal cases, instead being moved to probate court. Libby and Nicole, back to you at the desk.
Thank you, Taitum.
The Black Student Association is looking for new members.
Find out more about this organization and how to get involved.
Plus, sanctions from President Trump after this.
Troubles in the Middle East have been all over the headlines. Sofia Olivas joins us in the News Center with more. Sofia.
Thanks, Libby. President Trump slapped extra sanctions on Iran after they were blamed for Saudi Arabian oil field attacks. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, who is currently in Saudi Arabia meeting with the Saudi Crown Prince, even went so far as to call the attacks an act of war. Saudi Arabia has presented pieces of weaponry tying Iran to the attacks, which have caused Vice President Mike Pence and other Republican lawmakers to suggest an unequivocal military response. And Robert C. O'Brien has been named as the newest National Security Advisor. So who is he? O'Brien has served as a special presidential envoy for hostage affairs since May of 2018, where he worked for the release of American hostages abroad. He was also a former representative to the UN Assembly and worked on the justice reform in Afghanistan as a co-chairman of the Department of State. His appointment comes at a time where the president faces decisions on how to handle the Saudi oil strikes. And in Florida, a missing mother of 4 and her kids have been found murdered, and authorities believe her husband is to blame. Michael Wayne Jones Jr. was arrested after he crashed his van, and authorities found his wife Casey's body in the trunk. He later led officers to Charlton County, where the remains of the 4 children were recovered. Jones has been charged with driving with a suspended license, being a fugitive of justice, and second-degree murder. In Kolby, the U.S. Navy has confirmed that the UFOs in recently classified clips are in fact the real deal.
Thanks, Sofia. This weekend, one of OU's student organizations will host its largest show of the semester. Nightly's Kelsey Bickerstaff shows us what the Black Student Association has planned.
It's kind of like an unwritten thing. Like, you just feel the sense of fellowship, you feel the family, you feel the connection. And so I think that's one thing BSA is striving for this year, is trying to ensure that African American students, incoming, freshmen, returning, transfer, whatever it may be, feel welcome on this campus.
The Black Student Association at OU is striving to get more students involved in the Black student community. The organization held their annual show and tell over the weekend to present all the ways students can participate. Performances include groups from the African American Greek community to the African Student Association.
We have these organizations here for you to help you and help you get acclimated to the community, so why not interact with them.
This year's show and tell theme was a BET experience. Each year, the organization that wins receives a trophy, but this year, a scholarship was awarded to the winning team. The African Student Association collected a $250 scholarship after winning first place for the second year in a row.
I just wanted to give something back to the community because the community has given so much to me.
And if you haven't found your place on campus, it might be with BSA. Kelsey Bickerstaff, OU Nightly.
Follow OU BSA on social media for more information.
Cats are roaming around Norman.
And how the city is scratching out the problem.
Plus, rain chances for this fall from Nash.
That's right, rain is in the forecast. I'll tell you when you can expect it coming right up. Welcome back to OU Nightly on this beautiful day here in Oklahoma City. As you can see here on the skyline camera, a few clouds out there, but make no mistake, it is very hot. 88 degrees, but the number you want to pay attention to is right here, 69 degrees for a dew point, making it feel very humid and moist outside, just making it feel disgusting across the entire state. 90 here in Norman, 94 up in Guyman, your warmest city out of the bunch. Now tomorrow, the good news is we're going to cool down just a little bit. As you can see here, the normal for this time of year is 84 degrees. We're going to be a little bit above that here in Norman at 88, but again, the key message here is we are decreasing in temperature. That's what's going to happen over the next several days or so. As you can see, starting on Thursday down into the mid 80s, dropping Friday significantly down to 81 degrees before we rebound and stay in the mid 80s for the most part to start the upcoming weekend. But again, guys, scattered showers start to develop starting on Thursday. We're going to stick with those all the way Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, which will also help keep us fairly cool. Now, switching gears, let's talk about the tropics. We have Tropical Storm Jerry that just developed earlier today. Jerry right now is maintaining its intensity in the Atlantic, and as we play out this track over the next several days or so, this slowly makes its way off the east coast of the United States, and it's too early to rule out whether the east coast will see any impacts from this storm, but we're going to keep very close attention to Jerry, and as we get any more information, we'll let you know right here on OU Nightly. Now, let's take a look at the forecast coming up for the next several days. Looking at Thursday, we're going to drop once again to the 80s like I mentioned earlier, with those rain chances increasing, and we're going to have those rain chances stick with us all the way throughout the upcoming week. And guys, look at that. Monday is the start of fall, and we've got rain to start fall. I think we're starting in a good way, getting out of these 90-degree days that we've had pretty much all last week.
I think fall is actually my favorite season. It has to be. What's yours?
I'd say fall, mainly football season. I think that's why fall is my favorite.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Nash. Cats roaming free is a problem in the city of Norman. Back in May, the city council approved an ordinance to assist the situation, but there were still some holes that needed to be filled. Norman Animal Welfare is working with Hands Helping Paws, a nonprofit that helps cats, specifically feral ones. Their purpose is to reduce the amount of stray cats by using a trap, neuter, return method.
A cat colony around a lake, obviously a huge resource, food, water, protection. 200 cat colony around a lake over time with the TNR process implemented will reduce down significantly to 50 to 10 cats.
I'm not going to say.
Letters will be sent out to surrounding homeowners when a cat has been treated and neutered, and to inform residents that it's coming back into the community.
The Sooners are getting a rest this weekend, and Natalie is here with us for all the latest in sports. Natalie?
That's right. The Oklahoma football team has a well-deserved weekend off, and it was a deja vu all over again for the Red Sox fans last night. We'll be right back with sports. Welcome back to OU Nightly. It's time for sports. I'm Natalie Brown. The OU football team is idle this week. It's the first of 2 bye weeks on this year's schedule. Through their first 3 games, the Crimson and Cream have outscored their opponents 167-59. The QB1, Jalen Hurts, is playing as well or better than Heisman winners Baker Mayfield and Kyler Murray.
I don't think we are where we should be as a team. I said the other day, it's probably the most complete game we've played as a whole. Is it where we want to be as a team? No. So we're fortunate enough to have a bye week where I think we've had the right intent thus far.
The Oklahoma volleyball team had its first 5-set loss of the season last night against Texas A&M. Outside hitter Ashlyn Dunbar had her first double-double at OU. However, it wasn't enough to hold the Aggies. Up next, the Sooners will face SMU this Saturday here in Norman at the McCaslin Fieldhouse. Latest news in the Antonio Brown saga, the Patriots wide receiver won't be prosecuted for any of the allegations of sexual assault that were brought forth by his former trainer, because Pittsburgh area police say the statute of limitations has run out in the case. Week 3 of the NFL season brings 2 historically heavy favorites. The Cowboys and Patriots are both favored by over 20 points this week. This is the first time since 1987 that multiple teams are favored by this much in the same week. The 2020 Olympic basketball roster is already looking promising. NBA stars Stephen Curry and Damian Lillard have both announced that they plan on taking part in the Tokyo Games. Their announcements come just days after USA's loss to France in the FIBA World Cup. Giants outfielder Mike Yastrzemski accomplished something few Red Sox opponents have. He received a standing ovation after hitting his first home run at Fenway Park. It was a special moment with his grandfather, Red Sox legend Carl Yastrzemski, in attendance. And finally, it's Wine Wednesday, and that means it's time for our Winer of the Week. We didn't have to look too hard to find a good candidate for this week's award. I mean, how often does a star NFL defensive back try to fight his coach? The Jaguars' Jalen Ramsey was upset with Doug Marrone and had to be held back by teammates. This is the same Jalen Ramsey who showed up for training camp in an armored car asking for a new contract. And he's also the same guy who criticized just about every NFL quarterback in a magazine interview. Now he wants a trade, and the Jaguars ought to get rid of this big headache.
I've been wondering what he said to get his teammates to just jump off the bench like that.
Thank you so much, Natalie. Coming up on OU Nightly, find out what new museum exhibit you should visit.
OU Nightly Update Desk. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu canceled a visit to United Nations General Assembly in New York next week after election results left the country in uncertainty. While both Netanyahu's Likud party and the opposing Blue and White party appear to have fallen short in obtaining a majority, election rival Benny Gantz has a slight lead and could give him the chance to work with other parties to get the majority he needs to form a new government. Libby?
Thanks, Scott. The Sam Noble Museum is ready for visitors as they open their new exhibit.
A Giving Heritage explores the bridal attire among the Osage Nation. The wedding clothes were once gifts from the U.S. government to the Osage chiefs and leaders that were then handed down to the leaders' daughters for their wedding.
It's a wonderful story. It speaks to the resilience of Native peoples in Oklahoma. So it's a story of hope and survival, but it's really a great celebration of the cultural vitality of the Osage people.
To see them for yourself, visit the exhibit at the Sam Noble Museum, which is open until December 8th.
Well, I hope to go and see that new exhibit. I'm pretty excited.
What about the fair?
Yeah, if you're
Tell us
planning on
about the
going to the fair, it's not a bad time to go. Over the next 3 days, it's looking like we're going to be in the upper 80s and eventually drop down to 81 degrees on Friday with scattered showers in between. But we're going to see those scattered showers throughout the entire upcoming week. As you can see, we'll drop into the mid-80s throughout the start of the next work week.
Thanks, Nash. Thanks for watching OU Nightly, brought to you by Gaylord College at the University of Oklahoma.
We'll see you back here tomorrow.
Make sure to follow us on Twitter and Facebook for more updates on stories in the meantime.
Have a good evening.